Hola, mi amigos. If anyone's even here right now. No. Mi llamo y searching for Renoa. Bienvenidos en Nier. Sábado, super sábado, extravaganza. 5 de mayo. Thank God I remember Saturday was sábado. All I remember is sábado, domingo.
Whenever I interacted with Kaine, I was reminded about something from my past. Maybe my mind has been confusing her with my sister this whole time. Here we go.
Anyways, I thought whatchamacallit was, I thought I got ending B. No, that was ending A. I think this leads into ending B. I guess it's like a continuation or from Kaine's point of view, perhaps. So what do we got here? This is, I guess, as she was trapped, she still had, like, was able to, like, think and dream and stuff like that. Wandering slowly through the wooden hawk-shaped weather. Hawk-shaped? Caw-caw! Wait, hawks don't go caw-caw. I can't do a hawk call. Reached the veil for his existence as long as any could remember and stared. The child's face was simultaneously delicate and fierce, like a teacup surviving a shipwreck. His traits combined with a pale white skin gave face to an almost sexless quality. If the book turns east, I go home. It stays west, then I... Come on. Come on! Child felt a slight breeze as much as the veins slowly creaked to life. Finally sat on a boot, pointing firmly towards the east. East? Really? Then a jagged rock came running through the air. Oh no! A hill of stones began to fall all around. Oh no, they found me. Heartbreaking smile crept across the child's face as the stones continued their assault. Sound of multiple footsteps grew louder before a voice rang out. Yoo-hoo, Kaine! Voice belonged to Demo, worst of all the bullies in the area. Kaine struggled to stand. A final stone came skittering through the mud and bounced against her foot. Blood is from a cut above her eye and blurred her vision, but she could make out shapes of Demo and his usual gang of idiots. Curse you, Demo! Watch it be your first kiss and then you... Already I'm... The boy seemed taken aback for a moment by Kaine's seeming indifference to the blood dripping from her face, but quickly regained his bravado. What up, freak? You like the rain? You like getting all wet? Or did you finally decide to run away from home? Though she knew it was futile, Kaine turned to leave. Before she could get more than a few steps, the other children scrambled to surround her, cruelty burning in their eyes. Kaine knew those were not the only eyes on her. Tormentor's parents watched from the safety of their homes. She was attuned to this sensation. It was one she experienced many times before. While some villagers turned a blind eye to the actions of their children, many encouraged it openly. In a society ruled by superstition and fear, Kaine was something to be hated, if possible destroyed. I'd say you could leave, freak. Demo's words chewed at her like a worm through an apple. You can't hurt me. Be strong, be brave. You can't hurt me. You can't hurt me. Oh look, little freak's gonna cry. What's wrong? You said everyone hates you and wants you dead? Kaine prayed to the rain to flood down and carry away to a world that seemed to have no place for her. But if there were gods, they chose to ignore her too. As Demo crept ever closer, the clouds began to thin and the rain slowed. And the weather hits me. I'm useless, a failure. I wish Dino's rocket had taken my head off. Kaine couldn't meet Dino's leering gaze. Lowered her eyes and stared at the muddy ground below. Bully moved towards until he was inches away. She could smell the scent of old meat on his breath. Boy grabbed Kaine's face with thick fingers and yanked it upward. She tried to turn away, but he forced her gaze back and jammed his thumb in her eyelid to pry it open. I'm no freak. Did you say no? You don't say no to me. No one says no to me. Not even taking his attention away from Kaine calls to his cohorts. Give the freak what she deserves. As soon as Demo finished, kicks and blows began to rain down upon her. Dino paused, still grinning as Kaine curled into a ball and tried to make the pain stop. I'll get you. What you acting like a girl for? Everyone knows what you really are. Didn't even know back then she was a shade? What was this going for? Oh shit, I forgot to read the documents. That's what I should have done first. Oh wait, they didn't give me a chance to. That's right. Okay. Alright. Just remembered those. I still got those from the last stream. She stared at the weather vane, continuing to point east as supremely confident that the future had chose for her. Go home? Yeah, it's a funny joke for someone with dead parents and no home to go to. She closed her eyes and listened to the rain, waiting for the pain to start again. The clenching hands of village children closed around her. She bent her mind to the sound of the rain, letting it become her world entire. The rain fell, but the pain never came. Only when laughter of her torments turned to terrified cries did she dare open a single blood-caked eye. She was shocked to see Dino sprawled on the ground, holding his head, screaming in pain. See blood welling from spaces between his fat, twisted fingers. Oh my god, he's actually crying! Deprived of their leader, the other children glanced back and forth between themselves as if waiting for someone else to take charge. When no savior came, began an uneasy shuffle away from Kaine. I keep saying that. The young girl was the least of their concerns, standing on the ancient woman, standing a few feet away. After struggling for breath for a moment, she spoke in a voice thick with rage. Hurts like a bitch, don't it? And I suggest you scatter before I throw another one. If any of you little shits ever touch my Kaine again, I'll do far worse than throw a rock. You count on that. Old woman crouched down and gently touched the hand Dino was using to cover the wound. Before he could think to protest, she ground her palm into the wound and twisted it back and forth. Oh, stop it, what are you doing? Quit whining, ain't no one ever died from no scratch. You hit me with a rock, you stupid bitch. A big one. That thing could have killed me. The old woman shrugged. Death is the best cure for stupid. Dino's face twisted in rage at her words, locking his eyes on Kaine. I like how the music just kicked in when she showed, by the way. Is this you from the future, perhaps? Or is you jumping in the dream trying to be like, maybe we can affect that and save things, who knows? No one wants her either. Oh, right, no, that's right, she mentioned Grandma. That's who this is. Okay, we're finally getting to see old Grandma that the one red creepy ball chin freak tried to use against her, and she's like, fucking bullshit. Just helped me drop his ass. I was like, ooh, nice. Dino and his companions turned tail and ran. As they fled, the old woman grabbed their side and barked out a single laugh. Wah-ha-ha, look at the fat boy go. Guess he's healthy enough to run from a fight. When the small finish, she turned her attention to Kaine. Kneeling down, she moved their shawl and placed it around the young girl's shoulders. Producing a cloth from the folds of her dress and began blotting the blood on her forehead. Why didn't you fight back? You're stronger than that lot. The words of her grandmother stung Kaine and turned away. Don't be nice to me, I don't deserve it. Nothing matters anymore. Her tears held in check for so long finally began to fall in the muddy ground below. Everyone hates me. They think I cause bad things to happen. They think I'm a freak. Wish I was... Kaine's tears turned to sobs. She felt her grandmother's hands on her shoulders. Despite her advanced age and diminutive size, she was a woman of surprising strength. Kaine found herself unable to turn away. Don't talk like that, Kaine. A river wide and deep that flows between the realms of this world and the next, and it grants no mercy to any that attempt the crossing. You got a duty to fight until your last breath, understand? Old woman tightened her grip and tried to still the tremor in her voice. You know the pain of losing someone close to you. You know because you survived it. Words hit home. Kaine was struck by the force of her love for the old woman. As a young child, she didn't even know her grandmother. When her parents died, the woman quickly accepted her as her own. Grandma's Kaine called her was cunning, vulgar, and quick to violence. That's where she got it from. And their first years together had not been easy, but with each year that passed, Kaine and her grandmother had grown closer. But it was only now sitting in the mud with tears and blood kicking her face that Kaine truly understood the depths of her affection. There was a woman who had seen hard times, death, fought through all of these things, and somehow emerged on the other side. If anyone could understand Kaine's pains and loneliness, it was her. Did I make you sick, Grandma? Of course not. Don't be an ass. That's where she got that from, too. So she got her blunt honesty. Her grandmother's child. She drew her grandmother's moth-eaten shawl around her body and shuddered. But my body, it's not normal. If it was normal, Mom and Dad wouldn't... Shh. I'll not hear another word of this nonsense. You're my granddaughter and I love you. And if folks got a problem with that, they can go to hell. Hey, kiss my grits. While they's at it. With that, the old woman reached out and placed a wreath of dried flowers in Kaine's hair. The skill it took to bend the flowers without breaking the stems or losing a single petal was remarkable, and the beauty of it made Kaine want to cry all over again. Lunar tears. Grandma, you made this for me? Lunar tears were legendary flowers. Most people could live their entire lives without ever seeing one, yet her grandmother had somehow collected a dozen or more. Kaine reached up and touched the wreath as if she couldn't believe it was real. Where did you find these? Oh, just stumbled on them one day while I was out doing the shopping. She turned away as he was explaining, leading Kaine to suspect that the search had been much more difficult than she was letting on. The pain she took to construct the ornament, let alone track down the flowers used in its construction, made Kaine's hurt a little. She reached up gently, adjusted the wreath, admired the way it felt between her fingers. Didn't quite turn out right. These old hands have trouble with delicate work, but it sure looks good on a pretty girl like you. Connie blushed and turned away. Aw. Of course you're pretty. What a fool thing to say. Thank you, Grandma. I wish this was voice acted. I want to see the... I know Laura Bailey can do this. We're gonna be fine, you and me, as long as we got each other. Connie took her grandmother's hands in hers, and the two of them struggled to their feet. As they began the long walk home, Connie gripped the hand with all her might, as if trying to stop smoke from drifting away on the wind. The rain stopped. Connie stood beneath the weather vane, watching it spin in lazy circles, no longer caring about the direction it faced when it stopped. I don't need to escape. I have a home now. Grandma loves me, and that's enough. Even if it's us against the world. Connie let her gaze drift up past the vane and into the cloudy sky. Last faint hints of a rainbow were slowly fading. As she turned and headed for home, the light scattered into a million particles and vanished, seemingly taken away upon the breeze. Connie's dream's daily life. In the distance, Connie had heard the steady sounds of an axe striking wood. Noise had purposeful quality to it, as if she was hearing a master woodsman go about his work. The firewood being produced, however, was as far from a work of art as could be. Pieces of every shape and size were being flung about a barren yard with wild abandon. Anyone trying to stack such wood would probably die of frustration before the job was through. So a piece of shit axe. Oh. Grandma just filled the air with both splinters of wood and words that would make the most hardened sailor blush. Grandma, what's a... Don't you say that C word, missy. Oh, it's you, Connie. Don't get too close. I might take your goddamn foot off by mistake. That's why she's open with it to eat a meal, probably, because she never... I'll turn the axe on the mighty piece of wood, sending chips flying in every direction. One spun past Connie close enough for her to hear the whistle, at which point she decided to step back. When she scuttled a safe distance, she cupped her hands around her mouth and shouted, Grandma! Do you need help? I can get water or lunch or a new axe or something. The axe poised to strike another wobbly blow, paused in midair. The old woman considered her granddaughter's offer for a moment, then smiled. I'll tell you what, since I'm doing just such a piss-poor job of chopping, why don't you come here and take over so I can go get the water? She's been restlessly, I don't want you running into one of them bastards. Relinquishing the axe, her grandmother picked up a long pole with wooden buckets on either end. Gathering water was by far the more difficult of the two jobs, but Connie knew better than to complain. Once Grandma's mind was set, there was no changing it. Connie did her best to help with chores, but Grandma took every task that required travel to the village. Though she had a long list of plausible excuses, Connie knew the real reason. She didn't want her grandmother to be taunted and harassed by the villagers again. So once Connie moved in, Grandma decided to take up residence a good distance from the area. Out of sight, out of mind seemed to be the best policy when it came to the villagers and her granddaughter, and rare were the days when any but the two of them could be found on the rocky acre of land they called home. This is back there at the old house we walked by. First time we went through the area. She enjoyed the solitude, but harbored a secret resentment. Her grandmother was forced to spend her golden years in such a place. Watching her grandmother leave Connie turned her attention to the task at hand. She had never chopped wood before and soon discovered why the old man hated the chore. Swinging out of the swing, the axe produced only a tiny crack in the wood, and when she finally managed to connect with a solid stroke, the tool embedded itself in the log and refused to budge. Frustrated, Kind swung the axe around her head and threw it, log and all, across the yard. Damn it! Crap. She only understood the joy her grandmother felt in a good curse. Happier now, she picked up the axe, forced it from the wood, and resumed chopping. She had a natural skill with a blade, but the task was still challenging, and blisters started to begin to form in them small pink hands. This is tough. My logs are all weird sizes. Spitting her palms and ignoring the pain, Kaine redoubled her efforts. Just as she was developing a rhythm, Grandma returned from the village. Setting down her buckets of the small size, she took one look at the logs and coughed out a wheezy laugh. Pretty clumsy, girl. You better practice if you... Then she suddenly collapsed to her knees, causing one of the buckets to wobble precariously. Eyes wide, Kaine dropped the axe and ran to her grandmother's side. Grandma! The old woman shook her head and pointed a trembling finger at the bucket. Get the bucket, can't let it spill. She steadied the bucket with a foot as she knelt by her grandmother. The smell of the water sloshed over the side, made a new home to the hem of her dress, but Kaine didn't notice. Grandma, what's happening? Crazy with panic, she grabbed her grandmother by the shoulders and shook. After a moment, the woman lifted her arms and batted Kaine away. You just stop now. It ain't like I'm dying. Just tired from the trip is all. Kaine desperately wanted to believe her, but one look at the old woman's shaking hands and worn face told her more words than ever could. Her grandmother lived a long, hard life, and it seemed the bill was coming due. The time when her grandmother watched over Kaine was ending. Sooner than either of them had feared, the positions would be reversed. The next morning, Kaine came to the side of her grandmother's bed and took her wrinkled hand. "Grandma, you're sick and you need medicine. I'm going to the village." The old woman shook her head, tried to rise, but Kaine gently pushed her down. "It's all right, I'll be fine." Her grandmother fixed her with a gaze that could melt steel. After what seemed like an eternity, she finally lowered her eyes and sighed. "Well, I don't like it, goddammit, but I guess I should quit being so stubborn and let you grow up." The old woman watched as Kaine strapped on her boots and made her way down the road to the village. Hours later, an unseen sun made its way across a dark and rainy sky. She was still watching. Kaine moved at a brisk pace, checking her pockets every few minutes to make sure the money her grandmother gave her was still there. Every noise caused her to spin on her heels, making sure she wasn't being stalked by a shade, or worse, Dumo and his gang. She encountered neither tormentors nor shades, and Kaine found herself at the entrance to the village. A few adults she could see glanced sideways at her, then muttered to each other behind raised hands before slinking away to the shadows. Her heart racing, Kaine took a series of rapid, shallow breaths and tried to calm herself. "I gotta prove myself. I gotta help Grandma. I have to be strong." She chanted those words to herself over and over as she slowly made her way. Finally, her eyes settled on a rotund older woman who was angrily waving her arms in the air, telling anyone who would listen exactly what she thought of Kaine's presence. "Hey lady, where's the apothecary?" The woman's flabby cheeks shook in bewildered anger. "How dare this thing speak to me?" they seemed to say, but Kaine knew her eyes held a different emotion, fear. "Yeah, we're both scared, lady. Trust me on this one. Which way?" The woman pointed at a small building on her right before hitching up her dress and stumbling off in the other direction. Kaine cringed, expecting a stone to come flying from the assembled crowd, but none came. Her mind was filled with a strange sense of pride as she made her way up to the apothecary. You stand up to him, but the new emotion had little time to take root, for as soon as she opened the door, she noticed a familiar customer at the counter. It was Dumo. He clearly been sent here on some kind of family errand because his gang of followers was nowhere to be found. "Oh my god, what are you doing here, freak?" The insult was delivered without force, and Kaine happily ignored it. Stretching on tiptoes to see over the counter, she asked the shopkeeper for the medication. "Ha! That old bitch finally keel over? Go to hell, Dumo!" The boy's eyes grew so wide that he seemed ready to fall out of his head before he could let fly a comeback, or worse, a punch. The apothecary told her to knock him off, or he kicked him out of the store. Dumo slunk out of the shop, cursing Kaine under his breath. Once he was gone, she allowed herself to breathe once more, taking a brief tour of the shop while the owner prepared her meds. Countless tiny bottles filled the cramped store, each with a label written in some indecipherable language. An ocean of aromas assaulted her nose, creating a scent that was exotic but not altogether unpleasant. Seeing such a variety of supplies gave Kaine a sense of peace. Surely in a world so vast, it could be a place she could call home. On the far wall behind the counter rested a portrait of a stunning young girl. The picture had once contained bright, vibrant colors, but time had worked its magic and they were beginning to fade. The beauty of the work, however, remained undiminished. You like that picture? Kaine turned to find the apothecary with a small vial of medicine in his hand, his eyes gentle but sad, and they seemed to stare through and into nothing as he spoke. "That's my daughter. I sketched her while she was a little girl. She's been dead a long time now." Kaine noted her response. She just stared at the portrait, tried to come up with the words. "Pictures are wonderful things. They let the ones closest to you live on forever." He shook his head slightly and looked down at Kaine and smiled. He greeted her with handing her the medicine. He reached into his sizable green apron and produced a handful of old wax crayons. "You should have these. There's no one left that I wish to draw." Kaine took an instinctive step back, causing the shopkeeper's face to darken. "I've heard the rumors about you. It's a small village and word travels quickly. Between you and me, I'm not sure which one of them I believe, but I also don't think they matter much. I knew your grandmother, Kali, and I think she was driven out. I think the way she was driven out of town is just deplorable." Grandma's name is Kali? She was still mulling this new fact over in her mind as she reached out and gently took the crayons from the apothecary's hands. "Your grandmother's an old friend of mine, and I owe her much. I'm willing to wager she would like it if you drew a picture of her. I think she'd like that very much." Kaine murmured a quiet agreement, but inside her heart were bursting. Never before had villager treated her with anything but complete contempt. It was a tiny, almost imperceptible step, but a step nonetheless. And with enough tiny steps, she might one day discover the rest of the world. When Kaine returned home, she found grandmother asleep in her bed, her feet blackened and raw, even bleeding a bit in places, leading Kaine to think she had been pacing around the room till exhaustion finally caught up with her. She placed the medicine by her grandmother's pillow and turned to leave, but found the old woman's hand clasped around her arm. "Back already, are you? Come, let me have a look at you." Grandma sat up and examined Kaine from head to toe, finally satisfied with nothing terrible had befallen her grandchild as she leaned back and allowed herself to relax. "Those bastards give you any trouble?" "It was kind of fun," said Kaine with a small smile. "No, seriously, it was." "Fun, was it?" asked her grandmother in a voice which implied she believed anything but. So anytime you need me to run there, let me know." As she spoke, Kaine removed the crayons from her pocket. A brief explanation of their source, she informed grandmother she was going to sketch a portrait. Ridiculous, no one wants to stare at a wrinkled old crone. But Grandma, I'll make you live forever. Horse manure! Storm about to shoot from her bed. Living further would just piss me off. Put those crayons away and help with dinner. But Kenny would not relent, and in the end, Grandma found herself leaning against the wall of her house as if posing for a master artist. Well, and obviously meant the world to her. Kenny took up the crayons and eyed her subject carefully. Just as Grandma was about to nod off, Kenny finished the work. After staring at it for a bit, she released it from her grip and let it slowly drift to the floor. It's terrible. It doesn't look like you at all. I'm sorry, Grandma. I thought these crayons would, make drawing easier or something. Let me be the judge of that, she said, ignoring the pain in her back and reaching for the paper. The sketch could have been a person's face. I was given a boulder, lump of clay, or an incredibly misshapen loaf of bread, all rendered in a chaotic array of colors. The woman stayed at the picture for a long time and slowly wheezed out a laugh. You truly are my blood, as clumsy as me, and I love it. But shh, I won't hear any more bull about how ugly you think it is. It came from the heart, and I'll treasure it always. True to word, this old man gave the picture a place of honor above the kitchen table. In the days that followed, Kaine would often catch her staring at the portrait with a strange smile on her face and actually interpret it as a silent, mocking laughter. A week later, Kaine couldn't stand it anymore and asked her grandmother to take the artwork down. Hush! I'll take it down when they roll me in my shroud! She pondered this for a bit, then turned to Kaine and dropped to one knee. Listen to me. Seeing this picture makes me happy in a way I've never felt before, and it makes me want to go on, so that someday you can feel that same happiness. A moment had burned itself in Kaine's memory, a perfect blend of pride and love and joy that came together to form a lifelong remembrance. She swore to never forget that moment, to never forget the old woman who had made her place in the world possible. Time moves on, people and memories come in and out like ghosts passing through a hall, but this moment will be different, Kaine swore, because I'll remember it forever. Separation. Yeah, she doesn't have long. Kaine's grandma's a fucking boss, man. Shit. Kaine listened to the sound of crackling firewood and stared at the black object on her plate. She'd been pushing it around on a wooden disc for a good 10 minutes, ignoring the bemused stare of her grandmother. Finally, she summoned her courage and gave the object a brief sniff. A sharp bitter scent flew up her nostrils and made its home there, causing her face to twist with disgust. Grandma, I can't believe you make me want to eat a bug. Old woman threw some more wood on the cooking and snorted. There's no bug, you fool girl. It's a berry. Why in the hell would I be feeding you bugs? Well, it looks like a bug, and I think it's burnt or something because it smells terrible. She held her nose and threw the berry in her mouth, chewing as little as possible. Oh, yeah, it's terrible, all right. Why, you brat? Look at the sass on you. You've been spending too much time with me, and that's a fact. 5 years passed since the moment Kaine's grandmother saved them from the bullies. As is often the way with two stubborn people, their relationship had grown into fits and starts, but moved forward all the same. Meals that used to be somber affairs were now filled with laughter and hurled abuse in equal measure. Kaine could not remember a time where she had been happier. As the years went by, Kaine started to shoulder more and more of the daily responsibilities. Her grandmother's legs grew weaker, and she could no longer do many of the chores she used to take for granted. And so this morning found Kaine lacing up her work boots with a breakfast of burnt berry rolling through her belly. What are you going to do? Kaine looked up surprised. The old woman rarely asked for specifics anymore. Well, I was going to check out the kelmatrues and see if they were ripe. Thought we could make some jam or something. Oh, and we're going to pick up some flagstones so I can lead the wheelbarrow. Flagstones? What the hell for? Kaine stared at her grandmother and held out an arm and swept it around the home, constructed mostly of cloth, rope, and rubble. The old place sighed like a boxer in that final round. Grandma, a dying cat could chew through this house. I'm going to build a stone wall so we have some protection out here. Old woman laughed, exposing her toothless grin to the world. Goddamn girl. Bunch of thieves want to ransack this old place. Let them come. We got what stealing anyway. Not worried about thieves. I'm worried about shoulds. People saw one west of the village yesterday. Old woman tilted her head and stared at her granddaughter. Oh, shoot. I don't know why you'd have to do it today. We can worry about it some other. Grandma, no. I don't go get the kelmatrues. We won't eat tonight. You know that. Confused expression paused the old woman's face, and for a moment she saw a small child. She was a small child lost at a carnival. Yeah, of course you're right. I'm sorry, Kaine. Lately, it seems my mind is... She didn't finish the thought, instead of walked over her nightstand and gently took the stream of lunar tears from the drawer. The flower petals had aged in a brilliant whiteness, and Kaine thought it was more beautiful now than the day she first received it. You're gonna be a true woman soon. So that means less chatter about shoulds and building defensive walls and more talking about how beautiful you've become. Annoyed Kaine reached up to remove the garland, but the look in her grandmother's face stopped her hand. You're a beautiful thing, and there ain't another like you in all the world. I'm very proud of you. Okay, Grandma, that's enough goddamn compliments for one day. Such a mouth on you. Where'd that come from? Gee, I'll teach you this ass, sweet girl. I'm not that old to take you for a minute, you know. My poor knee. No! grabbed her by the ears, pulled her out of the room. Grandma, stop! What the hell? Old woman stared at her and blinked, then slowly held her wrinkled hands out as if it was the first time she had ever seen them. I don't know what happened there. I'm sorry, girl. Sometimes my mind just... Kanye thought the look at her grandmother's face was the most heartbreaking thing she'd ever seen. Listen, maybe I should stay home after all. No, I won't have you stay here to keep an eye on an old codger like me. You get your fruit and your wall and whatnot, I'll be fine. When you come back, I'll have a nice grasshopper dinner waiting for you. Kanye rolled her eyes and kissed her grandmother on the forehead and made her ready to depart, trying desperately to ignore the worry that was gnawing at the walls of her heart. Kanye could feel the old woman's eyes watching her as she moved down the path. Don't turn around, but in the end, the temptation was too great. Spun on her heel one final look and saw a small bent woman standing in front of a ramshackle hut with a sad expression on her face. Gods, she looks so old now. It's like the wind could reach down and just carry her away. Kanye worried about her grandmother all day, causing her work to slip. What little fruit she could collect was tossed carelessly into the wheelbarrow. She only found a couple of stones before losing interest in the project. Finally, as dusk approached, she decided to call it a day. Cursing herself for the lack of focus, Kanye pushed the nearly empty wheelbarrow back down the path. As she crested the final hill, she froze in place. The wheelbarrow fell from her fingers and collapsed on its side, sending a few pieces of wrinkled brown fruit rolling back down the hill. Her gaze was transfixed by a thick black cloud that hovered just ahead. Tracing its path with a finger, Kanye suddenly felt her stomach knot in on itself. Oh no, gods, no! Her grandmother's house was ablaze, the flames licking up as trying to touch the sky itself. Grandma! Kanye ran then faster than she had ever moved in her life. Once she tripped on a stone and went sprawling into the rocky ground, but she leapt to her feet and continued running, unmindful of the blood that spilled from her wounded hands and knees. As she got closer, Kanye's mind began to race in time with her footfalls. Too dark, not just fire. Can't be fire, too much smoke. Gotta save her. She burst in the front yard and came to a sudden halt. Her worst suspicions confirmed. The smoke from the fire was mingling with the thick, inky blackness of an enormous shade. The massive creature supported itself on 3 twisted feet and achieved balance through a means of large, armored tail. Scales, horns, and claws sprouted from its body in a random, chaotic pattern, giving it the appearance of a lizard designed by some insane god. Or Yoko Taro. Well, didn't he come up as god in one of the games or something? I read that somewhere. Yeah. That might be a later game. I'm gonna just spoil myself for that. Seeing Kanye, it let out a roar and flicked its tail, sending small whirlwinds spinning around the yard. For a moment, the creature retreated into a shimmering, inky blackness as if her mind was unable to comprehend that such a thing could actually exist. But then the smell hit her. Blend of rotted meat and excrement, and the horror became real once more. The creature bellowed again. This time, Kanye responded with a scream of her own. Alright, you bastard! It's you or me, let's go! The shade eyed Kanye with bemused interest, then it began looking from her to the house and back again, as if urging her to look at the destruction it had gleefully wrought. With dread building in her heart, Kanye glanced towards the house. Through the smoke and flames, she spotted a small figure struggling to escape the ruins. Grandma! The sound of her voice, the old woman began waving frantically. She's alive! Kanye's ling sprang to life as she raced across the yard towards the flaming wreckage of the house. Before she could advance more than a few steps, the shade opened its mouth and let out a roar powerful enough to uproot trees and send them flying. The blast sent Kanye tumbling through the air before smashing her against the rocky earth. Stars danced in front of her eyes as she tried to remember how her legs worked. Get up! Get up now! As Kanye struggled to her feet, the shade stomped towards the house and pinned her grandmother to the ground with the tip of a claw. The old woman struggled to move the claw from her stomach, but she might as well have been pushing a mountain. Coughed briefly, sending a small spray of blood into the air, then collapsed to the ground, her energy spent. Kanye lurched her feet only to fall back to earth with a gasp. Her ankles were on fire, one or both probably, surely broken. Running the pain that screamed through her body, she began dragging herself across the ground, leaving a drunken trail of dust and blood in her wake. Grandma, hold on, just a little longer. Her grandmother's face was turning blue, her eyes rolling back until only the whites were exposed. Kanye pulled herself across the ground with maddening slowness, the distance seeming to increase with every second that passed. The shade glanced between the two women and flicked out its tongue, its giant mouth turning up at the corners. Short, panting breaths belched from somewhere deep inside its core. Bastard, laughing at us. She had no idea how such a mindless creature could experience emotion, but there could be no doubt the Shade was taking joy in their suffering. Yeah, I see your plan. Shade moved its claw, letting grandma breathe again, clearly keeping her alive only to snuff out her life when Kanye was close enough to touch her. I'm gonna kill this bastard! Summoning all her strength, Kanye rose to her foot. There was a sickening snap, and the right ankle of her foot twisted backward, but she forced it out from her mind and began to hobble towards the monster. Pulling a small knife from the pouch of her waist, she leapt on the foot that pinned her grandmother and plunged the weapon deep. Give her back to me! It was like stabbing a rock. After a few swipes, the knife broke at the hilt with a dull snap. The Shade panted laughter again, and raised its tail and sent it rushing through the air towards the young girl that was latched onto its foot. Kanye never had a chance. The tail struck her square in the chest and sent her crashing into the burning wreckage of her home. She lay on the ground with blood pouring from multiple wounds. A small, weak voice spoke up. Kaede? Her vision blurred, but she forced herself to focus on the sound. Finally, her eyes cleared enough to make out her grandmother's hands reaching out to her through the smoke. Grandma? You gotta run. You can't defeat him. Kaede grabbed the hands and held on with all her strength. Grandma, come on, we gotta go. The other woman coughed loudly. One of her hands, slick with blood, slipped from Kaede's grasp and thumped to the ground below. Grandma, no! I said run, goddammit. You gotta live. You have to get through. The thought would stay forever unfinished before she could say another word. Clawed foot descended, smashing through the remains of the roof and down upon the shattered figure of the old woman. Blood oozed thickly from its gaps to the creature's toes as the terrible putrid smell assaulted Kaede's nose once again. She stared at the foot, dumbfounded, convinced that what she was seeing could not possibly be real. When the creature finally lifted its appendage, all that remained underneath was a twisted, unrecognizable mass of rubble and red. Her grandmother was gone. Kaede blinked, trying to feel the hands which had been in hers just a moment before. For a fleeting instant, she could remember the worth of that embrace, the trembling of her fingers. But then the sensation drifted away on the breeze and was gone. Memories flashed through Kaede's mind one after another, faster and faster till it became this meaningless jangle of noise. Kaede screamed, then a thunderous sound that echoed off the cliffs and seemed to roll away forever. The shade eased forward, black ichor pouring from its mouth and dissolving into smoke on the ground below. The earth shook with every step as it crept toward its prey. Kaede's body slowly rose, as if controlled by a mad puppet master. Her arms and legs were bent at impossible angles. Her head lolled dangerously to the side, but somehow she managed to stand. Staring at the shade, her eyes glowed with a deep red fire. The creature, so confident moments ago, took a slow, hesitant step backward, trying to discern if this broken human could possibly pose a threat. Kaede seized the moment, laughing like a madwoman. She leapt through the air and plunged the shattered hilt of her knife deep in the leg of the shade. Shade shook Kaede up like a fly, sending her crashing into the earth once again. Her chest rose and fell slowly, as if her great weight was resting on it. Moist sounds of pain echoed through her mind. Something warm and thick oozed from her ears. Is that blood? I think it is. I think I'm bleeding to death. No, I can't die. Grandma told me to live. Deep inside Kaede's mind, finally something broke. The sound, the pain, the smoke, the flames, all of it faded away until all that remained was a single incantation repeated over and over again. Kill it! Kill it! Kuros, 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 kuros. Shine, 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 shine. Kill it now! Do it! As the spark with it was kind of slowly began to flicker and die, she felt her desire to kill and her desire to live blend into one. The distance between heartbeats grew longer and longer. She had all that while we were getting the minutes to break her free.
The beast approaches.
Oh, I got it.
It's here. I gotta fight you again? Looks like. Okay then. We're a match for you then, you sure as shit ain't now.
What a hate this creature must have. How did it even survive these past 5 years?
I'm not gonna let this happen again. He dies today. My sword
Everything just
feels
gets one-shotted down by my
It's
spear.
not the blade, but the skill of the goose. Strike him down.
Went back out extra levels. To get all the weapons or whatchamacallit, because I know that's the requirement once again, like Drakengard, to get the other 2 endings after this. Kaede's dreams encounter. Gently, weakly, softly, the shade, sure that Tormentor was dead, turned away and stomped towards the horizon, stomping along the way to bellow one final roar. Couldn't kill it. Sorry, Grandma. Couldn't avenge you. She went beyond imagining, kind of tried to turn her head to the side, but only succeeded in coughing up a huge gout of blood. It's getting difficult to see, and only after a moment of fierce concentration she realized her left eye was gone. Laughing to herself, she turned to the remaining eye to the ruins of her home and noticed a ragged stump of arm resting a few feet away. Yeah, that's mine. That's gonna make clapping a real bitch. Ha! Cried a sudden voice from the depths of her mind. Finally gonna die, are you? Well, you had it coming. Go to hell, Dino, she thought through unseen assailant. Before I pluck your eyes out and fool him to a dog. Was her childhood terror evaporated into smoke, only replaced by another, more recent voice. Hold still, said the apothecary, materializing from the ruins like a ghost. I want to draw you, that way you can live forever. No, stop, don't want to live forever. I want to die right here. I see. Well, if that's how you want it. The spectral shopkeeper fluttered in and out of existence for a moment, then produced a piece of paper and sketched quickly. After a few seconds, he turned the page to Kaine and smiled. Since you rejected my offer, I decided to draw someone else. A picture of her grandmother, real as life. Kaine opened her mouth to thank the man, but stopped as the picture began to blacken in the middle before she could say anything. Thousands of multi-legged insects began to swarm across the image, tearing it with their sharpened pincers. No, don't hurt that picture! Kaine reached out with her remaining arm and wooed futilely. That word at the air? To her surprise, the insects fell off the picture into the ground below, where they vanished in tiny black tendrils of smoke. Relieved, Kaine turned her good eye back to the picture and then opened her mouth with a silent scream. The sketch now showed her grandmother she truly was, this smashed, unrecognizable lump of nothing. The apothecary smiled and broke to a jolly dance. See that? That's perfect now. She looks just like you. Ha-cha-cha-cha-cha. Who the hell is this guy? Is he shaded up now, too, or something? I'm gonna die. Drowning in despair, Kaine laid her head back in the mud and smoke of her ruined house and waited for the end to come. But just before she let everything go, an unfamiliar voice began whispering in her ear. Don't you got a wish, sunshine? Voice was vulgar and fierce at the same time, as if insanity had somehow found a way to take form. Kaine went to scream at the voice, but crawled under her skin, but her lungs refused to work. You know, wish, a prayer or something. Get on your knees and start praying to heaven. Please, invisible man in the sky, save me! Ka-ha-ha-ha! She resorted to shouting at the voice with her mind. I don't make wishes, they don't come true for me. I'm a curse, a freak. I should be left to die. The other voice boomed in her ears. Oh God, you are the best. Kaine glanced down and saw a black shiny substance oozing from her legs. She tried to brush it away, but her remaining arm would no longer respond. Something slowly crept around her feet and began moving up towards the rest of her body. Oh, is this her coming to the sickness? Is this becoming half shade or the scroll or whatever? She could feel the slime oozing upward, feeling the hot searing pain it left in its wake, whatever else might be happening. She was still alive, and this was real. This probably how she got all her shit back, because she noticeably has 2 eyes in both her arms, so whatever the hell's happening here stitched her back together somehow. Don't ignore me, sunshine. You ready to give up? Ready to die? Why not let me have it? Have what? Your body. Give it to me. I want to stand on the ground, feel the rain, taste the wind. The voice paused as if licking its lips. When it resumed, it was filled with mad, unabated joy. I want to take your hands and use them to choke the goddamn life out of people. Tear out their throats and bathe in the blood like before. Who is this? Kind of shifted her head and vomited. The warmth of it crept down her front and mingled with the pain of her encroaching black ooze. What are you, shade? Baby, what of it? The slime reached her face, crept past her nose, and slowly oozed into the socket of her missing eye. The moment it touched her brain, Kaine was struck with the most powerful sensation she ever felt in her life. Ecstasy. She wanted to scream with delight, but all she could manage was a small whispered moan. Feels good, don't it? What can I say? I know how to please the ladies. Now give me that body and I'll give you more of this feeling. Fair trade, right? Black lump began to protrude from Kaine's side. As she watched, it grew longer and thicker, essentially taking the form of her missing arm. I can see better, she thought. My eye must be growing back too. Slime reached up to envelop the rest of her face. She managed to brush it away. She whispered stop, marveling at how she regained her voice. The black ooze hesitated as if considering the request, then quickly shimmered down her body before dissipating up a cloud of smoke. Now what the hell? We had a deal. I thought you wanted to die. Grandma said, I can't die yet. Brief image of her grandmother, bloodied and broken, flashed before her eyes. She saw the shade that had killed her and heard its mocking laughter. Then closed her eyes and forced the image from her mind. Her whole body quaking with rage. When she opened her eyes again, they burned bright red again. That thing took my grandmother. I have to kill it before I die. Kaine glanced down, saw a mysterious pattern. The pattern of the shades burn itself into her left arm. Well, I'll be damned. Look at that, sunshine. I think you and me are going to be good friends now. Kaine stared intently in her arm. The more emotional she felt, the more the letters seemed to readily puncture her skin and began infecting the rest of her body. The arm clearly had a will of its own now. Holding her left arm in her right, Kaine took a deep breath and tried to calm herself. Come on, don't fight it. It's my favorite dish and I'm hungry. Let it go. Feel the anger. Burn with the fire of revenge. Thirst for blood, then go out there and shut up and get the hell out of my body. Your body? Oh, that's rich, Sunshine. Oh, why don't you just up and die so I can have this body all to myself? What do you say? I bet those buddies of yours in the area would love to see you dead. She grabbed the nearby shard of glass and tried to saw off the sugar-infected portion of her side. Before she could, her darker left arm grabbed her right wrist, crushing it. She screamed and dropped the shard as the sound of bone crunching on bone filled the air. Stupid girl, you're possessed now and there ain't no going back. So that's what happened to her. Possessed? You and me, we got what you might call a timeshare arrangement. Remember how folks used to think you were a freak? Well, wait till they get a load of you now. Connie looked up, tears in her eyes. The sky seemed smaller somehow, darker. Just because that should? Is this how they see the world? So, listen, I know this whole possession thing seems a bit sudden, but it ain't all bad. Plenty in it for you, too. I'm a very powerful creature, Sunshine, and now that power's yours. You got enemies people you want to kill? I can make it happen. That old fat kid who kept picking on you, that big old shit that squashed your granny, we'll wrap them up in their own assholes. No more abuse for you, Sunshine. No more pain. You're a shade. Why would you want to help me kill another shade? Well, you think I'm some kind of racist? Some killing snob? I don't give a good goddamn who you murder, honey pants. I just want to drink from the well. Connie considered as she struggled to her feet the power of the shade coursing through her. The smoke from her house was drifting away with the wind, and she enjoyed the way the cool thing breeze felt on her new left arm. After a long pause, the voice spoke again. So how about it? You and me, we can have some good times together. I can take care of the bloody part if you don't want. Fuck off, asshole. I'll handle the killing. Ha! Look at you go. Oh, Sunshine, we're gonna have so much fun. My name's Tyrann, and if you never knew me, I'll just be hanging out in this piece of meat you call a heart. Now get to it. The more you kill, the more your heart turns rotten and sour, and I like it rotten and sour. Juicy drop. Uno mas. Uno mas. Yeah, I think this can work. I'm gonna find that shit and strangle it with its own guts. And when I'm done, I'm gonna do the same to you, Tyrann. Count on it. Ha! I'm shit bigger than you. Good luck with that. Oh, and one more thing. Right now, you and me are sharing this body. But if you ever run out of here, you ever, go soft, then I'm gonna take over everything. This is why everything. This is why she wouldn't trust Moon Guy. She said she had her own shit to take care of at the end. She didn't want to stay. She doesn't stay in the village. She probably didn't want to get too emotional or attached to her or anything because, someone else is taking up, something else in there taking up vacancy, this Tyrann. So keep on killing, Sunshine, and watch your back. The voice grew fainter and gradually faded to somewhere deep inside Connie herself. She waited till she was sure the voice is gone, then waved her new left arm a few times. Feels perfectly normal, she thought. Feels like mine. Dash began poking and prodding at the new limb, determined to find something wrong with it. She didn't want it to feel normal. Me and the creature inside her had already won. I'm not a shade, I'm Kaine. Repeating this mantra in her mind, she slowly began digging through the rubble of her house, being careful to ignore a certain red stinging spot in the corner. Finding what seemed like eternity of heartbreaking worse, she found what she was looking for, the wreath of lunar tears. It had been through hell and back. The garland's petals were as bright as ever. Connie started to place it in her hair, then slowly lowered the wreath and stared at it. I'm sorry, Grandma. I don't deserve to wear this anymore. I'm possessed, corrupted, a freak. And this time I don't think there's any going back. Holding the flowers to her heart, Connie fell to the ground and sobbed. As night gradually lightened to dawn and the people of the area rose their daily lives, she remained in that position, as if tears could somehow wash away the horror that now infected her world.
Stay alive. Stay alive.
Grandma?
Kaine, you gotta live. You gotta come back to us.
You're just gonna make me sad again because Emil's here. Such a good boy.
Who are...
Such good goddamn children in this game. Shit. We got Yona, we got Fira, we got the king, we got Emil here.
Emil. You were the
Why did
one
2/3 of
calling me.
that had to fucking die?
You still recognize me?
Yeah, sure. I knew you right away.
Thank you, Kaine.
Good to see you, Kaine.
You look like shit.
Different in Drakengard 1. Those child soldiers, you had
How
to
long has it been?
fight them to move on, and they were just like, you felt kind of bad for them, but it wasn't with the emotional attachment you had with like the tour guide just showing me everywhere and just being so helpful. And Yona just trying to do her best as a daughter would to her father,
Oh. That's a long time.
and a meal. Just everything with a meal.
Any luck with Yona?
We are still no closer to finding her. We need a way to locate the Shadow Lord.
This is for you.
Lunar tears. Did you make this?
It's just a little welcome back gift. It's not much, I know.
It's nothing like the one Grandma used to make, but... hell. Thanks.
Excuse me.
You.
Popola, we did it. We freed Kaine.
That's great. Listen, can I talk to you for a minute?
This is where they get kicked out.
This doesn't make sense.
Please. People are tired and scared and...
It's crap.
It's okay. We can sleep outside.
No one's sleeping outside. You and Kaine saved this village, and
People are afraid of us. As long as you're still right,
I've seen
Kaine.
all
I'm
this
used to sleeping
before.
outside.
I'm sorry.
We'll see you later.
We're sorry.
Got another POV from Kaina here. She leaves. Maybe she speaks with This really is from the other angle.
What is the matter?
Kaine always sleeps outside. How could I have not noticed that? What the hell is wrong?
We should turn.
Didn't get much sleep that night. We've seen all this too, and I can't skip it. Still not sure exactly where, like maybe her parents weren't exactly prize winners either, or something happened to them.